Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am your ever-friendly Pokeprof, and welcome back to Getting with the Program, where I'm joined once again by Kitty Kross and Ashen Sky.
Tetsu.
Okay, then. If you couldn't guess by that little joke, we're going to be talking about Episode 5 of My Hero Academia, What I Can Do for Now. And immediately they kind of throw a curveball at us.
Quite literally.
So one of the more interesting things that we've get introduced to right off the bat is we actually get proper introductions to a lot of the other characters in the show for this particular episode. We get to see Ida, I believe his name is which is the super speed guy. And he literally, his power is, like I was saying last episode when I was guessing his power, he literally has engines in his legs, and that gives him, like super
exhaust
speed.
pipes in his calves.
Yeah. So it's like, that's got to be an interesting little quirk to have. We also find out Levitation Girl's real name, which is, what was
Uchako.
it? Uchako. Yeah, sorry. It's like, it was said all of one, so... Or Ida's was said several times, and it takes repeating for me to really remember names. Yeah. I remember faces and abilities a lot better than I do names. We got to see Bakugo. Of course, his power is explosions.
A Michael Bay film.
Yeah. And then we also get introduced to the teacher of the entire students, whose superhero name is Eraserhead, and whose special power is literally to stop quirks.
He has to make eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
But how did he make eye contact when Deku was throwing the ball?
Wait.
I think he has to be able to see the character, hon.
It's a line of sight thing.
Line of sight. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it's line of sight. So essentially, we've got like Leech from the X-Men as a hero here, to where
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say he also has some other powers apparently, because considering he's got this whole thing he can control with these like little bandages that was around his neck.
That gets explained a little bit later.
Yeah, well,
if you saw though, after he used his power, he had to use some eye drops.
Yeah, so it's probably a disadvantage of his quirk, which is really interesting because it's like it says, yeah, you quirk may be able to do stuff, but it also might give you some disadvantages. As a matter of fact, that was kind of the entire theme of what he did, because basically, apparently in the Hero Academia, teachers are given full control over what happens. So if
classes,
so literally this teacher said, yeah, no, whoever's the weakest one of you bunch is not going to be going and staying here. You're going to be expelled, pretty much. And he pretty much went straight after Deku first, considering the fact that he clearly saw that in the examination run, Deku hurting himself to such an extreme just to use his power. It's like you have no control over it, so you have no place here. Which is an interesting way of going about things. It's like when I first saw this character, I was like, he is an absolute jerk, and I do not like him.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's oh, good.
I was just gonna say he has actual reasoning behind the way he's doing things.
He's an asshole, but he's not doing it to be an asshole.
Exactly. He's not like Bakugo. He's not where I'm like, oh, I'm going to be doing this because I want to kick you out. It's like, no, it's like you are not ready, and I don't think you're going to be able to prove yourself otherwise, so...
He's not the stereotypical dickwad teacher out to get...
He's not Mr. Crocker from Fairly Odd Parents, simply.
Sorry, quirk parents!
But we really get to see a lot of the characters really get to show off their powers, because apparently, despite the fact that quirks have been around for about 200 years, we see the fact that the governments don't allow people to use their quirks in like sporting events and stuff like that. So everyone's been kept at a human level, and everyone's excited about the fact it's like, oh, hey, we can actually use our quirks, we can actually use our abilities in things that we normally would never do.
if I remember right, the lore is they have to have a license to be able to actually use the quirks in public.
Yes, which is why every single student in that particular classroom, a few episodes ago, was showing off their quirks. It's like, oh hey, I have can turn my hair into stone and stuff like that, or
I didn't see that.
yeah, there was a kid who had powers that literally like covered his head in rocks.
To be fair, that might actually just be his natural state due to the...
It could be. Because that's actually the thing that I've started to notice is the fact that some characters are just the way they are simply because of their quirks. And so we got like Mr. Belly Button Laser Dude, who I don't remember his name.
That is a weird ass quirk.
Yeah, but it's like his...
He's a weird ass character.
Yeah. His design
And apparently
is kinda
he
weird.
was hitting on Gravity Girl.
Yeah.
And she was like, who are you again?
With his, I wonder if the whole French accent thing was something that was in the original Japanese, or if it's just something that they were doing for the American dub.
The what?
He had a French accent.
He was like going,
Oh.
"Hell, mon ami," and stuff like that.
He is supposed to be a French character.
Okay, that makes a bit sense. We also got to see a character I know mostly from adult artwork when it comes to this show, in terms of the pink girl who I believe her power is introduced later on as acid.
Her power is acid. Yes, she can. take
Okay,
acid.
I was just like, the reason I kind of left over there is like, I have no idea. I've only, like I just said, I've only really seen this character through, people doing slightly lewd works of her. That's about it. That's the
Just slightly.
Just slightly, yes. Basically, it's like that is how I know some characters, is just through, hey, someone did like a slightly sexy pic, here you go. And it's like, this is my only exposure to characters. It's like that's how I was exposed to
Exposed.
that's how I was exposed to Blake's kitty cat ears, for example, which I didn't know was an actual thing until we actually watched the episode.
Mm.
But I also wonder, in the case of her powers, like, I'm worried about her character, to be entirely honest, when it comes to Eraserhead's little test, because that's basically the crux of this episode. Is he is doing a test to see everyone's potential for what they're capable of doing. He wants to make sure, is like, okay, you're capable of doing this, you're capable of surviving. And he actually flat out says, it's like, life isn't fair. It's like, we'll see disasters, you'll see supervillains, you'll see all this stuff. We as heroes, it's our job to go and balance things out. So we wanted to make sure that everyone that gets into our classes is capable of doing that. And so that makes me curious on how someone whose powers is acid is able to go and really work any better than a regular human under a lot of those circumstances.
You'll see.
I kind of figured we would see, but it makes me curious. But
They
it
are very ingenious with quirk pieces.
Oh yeah, I think with what we've seen so far, that's probably the best thing about this show that I've really come to enjoy just from the few episodes we've watched already, is the simple fact that they're using powers in ways you normally wouldn't think. It's like a lot of the other shows and movies and anything else that's superhero-based content,
Mm-hmm.
we would go and see them just like, oh, let's just use super strength how you would always use super strength. Or let's go and do, this with our psychic powers because everything is always done the same way.
Remember what we were talking about before in a previous when we were talking about a previous episode, is that this show basically takes well-known superhero tropes and turns them on their head.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Well, I know, but that's only one part of it, though. Is the simple fact that it's not just the fact that they're turning it on their head as far as making it interesting. It's also where they're going through and showing unique ways of using the power. It's like that one little small character that I know Ash hates that has these little grapes.
Moneta.
Manetta, I don't know. I don't think he's been properly introduced. We don't even know what his real quirk is. We just know it's like he has like these weird little balls that he can place all around. He was using them to bounce around to do the whole like sidestepping challenge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You would never see that in an American superhero thing. It's like you would never. It is like everyone's powers in most superhero comics tend to be used in one particular fashion and for nothing else. And that is what I like about My Hero Academia so far. They're going and actually using their powers in a way that you normally wouldn't expect. And that makes it a lot more interesting than just having them go and say, oh, hey, I can go and just run super fast or whatnot. No, it's like instead we've got Bakugo literally using explosions in his hands to help him race across the field or to throw a ball super far.
Just wait till you start seeing some of the villains.
Oh boy.
I can't wait for some of the villains. Those are going to be interesting. But it's also going to be interesting to see a lot more of the characters and a lot more of their quirks, as well as see what they can actually do with their quirks. Because I kind of love how our little gravity girl is like, okay, let me go and lighten the load of all my clothing to make me run faster. It's like, that's an ingenious idea.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since now that I think about it, it's like, I don't think she can just touch herself and make her entire body fly. I think that probably would be
a bad idea.
Yeah, and I don't think that's exactly how her...
Well, remember what she did with the ball? She made it go into space.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
just wait.
Her power was infinite when it came to throwing that ball.
Oh, just wait till later.
All I've got in my head now is she's going to be something like a cross between Static Shock and Peridot. It's like you'll get a little trash can lid to fly around on.
Just yell at everyone, call them clods.
Yes. Oh no, she's too nice to do that. She is very much your stereotypical, very sweet, loving girlfriend type character, which is why I've called her the girlfriend already.
Oh, I don't know much about stereotypical.
Well, just from what we've seen so far, because so far a lot of this show is not stereotypical. Yeah. It's like that's the reason why I'm enjoying it, is because it's making choices for some of these characters you would not normally think about. At least so far, what we've seen, especially with Deku and a few of the others.
Going back to Deku, it goes back to what I was talking before about. He's relying on his tactical thinking. Like instead, he was going to use, basically put all of his power into that throw until the other teacher stopped him, and then he reconsidered it. And then he basically waited until the last moment and put the power through one finger. So it was just the one finger that got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And that took some thinking.
Mm-hmm. I think that's
some concentration.
Yeah. Although that makes me still question, is like, it's clear that Deku still can't handle his power no matter what.
Well, he's still getting into it. It's early.
Yeah, it's still super early for his power. But at the very least, instead of going and just breaking his entire arm, he broke a single finger to focus all that there. So it shows the fact that he's starting to learn control. It's just he's still at 100% power no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do like what All Might's reaction was like. Midoriya, how did you get so cool?
He's following you, All Might. That's why.
He's just as much a fanboy of Midoriya as Midoriya is of him.
Yeah, and you would not normally see that for like a Superman-style superhero, which is what All Might is. You know, I think that's another reason why I've been enjoying All Might so much, is that he's very much a character who is there to support others as much as others support him. And
he really does believe in what he does.
Mm-hmm. You know, there's a reason why I think some of the others call him Japanese Superman, because he very much is Superman in terms of that personality. He's there to help out others. He's there wanting to do the best for them. And he's willing to put into work to get it done.
He was modeled after Superman.
I'm not surprised. Anyway, with all that, I'm not sure if there's anything else we got to cover. Anything else you guys thought about, or you think we're done?
Nothing else comes to mind.
Nope. I'm blank.
All right. I think I'll end off saying I want a proper introduction to Froppy because that's like the character I know the most out of this show, just because of exposure. But other than that, I'll say y'all take care and stay frosty.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your ever-friendly Pokeprof, and I wanted to thank you for watching yet another episode of Getting With The Program. If you got any suggestions on how to make the show better, or you're just wanting to say hi, leave a comment below. If you also like and subscribe, that will definitely help us out on the channel. Also be sure to check out the upcoming episode of Fascinating Fiction, a solo series in which I'm wanting to do a little bit more scripted content. You can also follow both me and Kitty, and I believe also Sky as well, on social media, mostly Twitter, and as well as when we stream on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays over on Twitch, where we mostly just play games that I've never played before and goof around. Hope to see you guys there, but until then, stay frosty.